A Pima cotton blend t-shirt on Vince's site costs $85, but the same shirt sells for $29.99 at TJ Maxx. So why does it cost less? Over 10 years, the off-price retailer has opened 263 more stores. In 2022, TJX, which owns TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and HomeGoods, brought in almost $50 billion in sales revenue, more than Nordstrom's and Macy's combined. And the secret to its success? The company isn't shifting most of its business online or using big data to figure out what shoppers want. Instead, it's sticking to a decades-old playbook.
You get the max for the minimum price, and it's never, ever the same place to.
This is the economics of TJ Maxx. There are really two components to TJ Maxx's strategy, the bargain and the hunt. One way TJ Maxx gets discounted goods is by buying excess merchandise and canceled orders from other brands and retailers. Essentially, it takes advantage of surplus and waste in the retail system. This allows the company to sell its merchandise generally around 20 to 60% below regular retail prices. But there's a catch.
Just the fact that the price is low is not enough. What you need is also a reference price, because people don't know how much things cost.
That's where Alex says something known as the anchoring effect comes in. At TJ Maxx, most items have two prices, the TJ Maxx price and a comparison price.
People anchor in the regular price, and then they see exactly how much of a deal they're getting. And this way they really understand what the value is that TJ Maxx provides to them.
Take these rag & bone shorts. A TJ Maxx in Manhattan sold them for about $40 with a comparison price of $50. That's a 20% discount. But the original price tag happened to be on these shorts, and it lists the price as $195. That would be around an 80% discount. And that comparison price is really just an estimate. On TJ Maxx's website, there's a message next to the comparison price that says these prices are references to regular retail prices. Where identical items are not available, we compare to products of a similar type, quality, and style. These price tags aren't the only way TJ Maxx helps customers feel like they're getting a bargain.
The whole positioning of TJ Maxx is we give you brand names for less. And the reason why it's important is because very often when you see low price, you think it's low price because the quality of the product is low.
But if the customer knows and trusts the brand, then they won't assume the price is low because it's a bad product. Instead, Alex says they'll attribute it to TJ Maxx's ability to get discounted goods. And because people often expect name brand items to be more expensive, the brand itself acts as an anchor.
Emphasizing the fact that as a customer, you're getting a deal makes people feel good. It's not only I'm getting a low price, but I'm actually getting a deal, which makes people feel good about themselves, that they're smart shoppers.
TJ Maxx says it gets its goods from about 21,000 vendors, and the inventory in its stores is constantly turning.
So as a result, people tend to go more often to this type of stores and also spend a little bit more time in the store in search of something.
Across its companies, TJX employs more than 1,200 buyers that each control millions of dollars and has authority to cut deals on the spot.
As a buyer for TJ Maxx, I'm always on the hunt.
Let's say you have a bathing suit brand and it's right before Memorial Day weekend and they're stuck with extra bathing suits. That's when TJ Maxx buyers show up at the showroom. You know, they can cut a deal right on the spot and they can get it to their stores within a week.
Department stores, on the other hand, can take weeks to review and approve orders from their buyers. So TJ Maxx buys the merchandise quickly and gets it into the store just as fast.
They have a saying internally, door to floor in 24, meaning that any merchandise that shows up at a store in the morning has to be on the sales floor by the end of that day.
To ensure speed, merchandise often arrives at stores already on racks that employees wheel off trucks and move straight onto the sales floor. And once it's there, all the merchandise is laid out differently than other retailers too, helping to create that treasure hunt experience. While most department stores group items by brand, TJ Maxx organizes its inventory by type. This means that different brands can end up next to each other on the same racks. And since TJ Maxx doesn't have walls dividing sections of the stores or brands, it can easily reconfigure the layout based on changing inventory. Seeing all the products and changing layout can encourage impulse buying. Shoppers know that if they see something they like, they need to buy it now. If they wait, it may be sold out or hard to find when they come back.
Once you take it home, things are changing dramatically because now you're not buying something, you're giving up something. Lots of research has shown that giving up something is more difficult than acquiring. You're willing to pay more not to give up something than to buy something.
Retailers struggled through the rise of e-commerce in the pandemic, and while TJX's off-price retailers still took a hit, they have bounced back. In 2021, TJX had the highest sales in the company's history, a record it then beat the following year. And it's not because TJ Maxx and the other off-price retailers adapted, but rather because they never drifted away from their core strategy.
TJ Maxx tends to perform pretty well in an economic downturn because that's when customers tend to be bargain conscious and they offer really good value for the money.